What motivates you to write?
I've always liked to write. I'm an only child, so I grew up reading. The earliest memories I have of reading is I think I had every Nancy Drew book available. I've always liked to read suspenseful novels. As I got older, I really enjoyed reading James Patterson, Stephen King, John Grisham when I got a little bit older. So I've always had the interest, and my family will tell you that I'm very long-winded, and especially when I write. So it just kind of naturally segued into that over the years. But I never did it for public use. It was always just for immediate family. And I was taking classes at Pulaski Tech to become a nurse and got my associate's degree in science, but I had to take a couple of elective courses, and I chose to take creative writing. And after the first semester, my teacher was so impressed that she said, okay, you need to take creative writing too. And so I did last year, spring semester of 2010, or 2011. And she sent me an email and said, for your course for this semester, I want you to write a novel. I think you have it in you. So I did. And we had, in my class previous to that, we had just finished reading The Count of Monte Cristo, which I had already read before, but it was my favorite book that I've ever read. So that's where I got the idea from, of taking classic revenge and putting it into a modern setting, and having the readers be able to experience that. But I also wanted to take it to another level, and that's going to be addressed in the sequel, Zero Balance, because people that want to experience revenge never seem to look past that moment of planning and getting to that point. They don't look beyond what happens after that. And in the sequel, Zero Balance, unfortunately, the heroine finds out that when you seek revenge on those that were already twisted and evil to begin with, the reciprocal cycle is ugly when it comes back around, and that's what she discovers.
And that book will be available when?
It's currently in editing right now with my publisher. It's slated for the 1st of March, but that it could come a little earlier, it might come a little bit later. I know it's got to be out before the 15th because we're going to book signings in Texas, so hopefully it'll be done by then.
How does your family handle your writing? How do you actually write? How is your writing process? Do you closet yourself away in an office, or how do you physically write?
Well, I see it as a movie in my head, and I see the scenes as they happen. I do live here in Malvern, and I have a very long commute every day to Little Rock to work, so I have plenty of time to think. And what I would do while I was writing this was, when I was driving to and from work, I kept thinking, okay, if I was watching a movie, what would I want to see happen next? And then as soon as I got to a computer, which tended to usually be at night after my husband went to sleep, then I would write out what I had seen in my head earlier that day. I have a full-time job, so it is difficult. I can't write during the day. I do end up doing most of my writing at night. But once I get started, I have to continue until I finish as far as I went in the scenes in my head, so I make sure I have it all down. And then it just kind of comes the next day when I'm driving. The thoughts come the next day of what's going to happen next. So it's more, for me, it's more visual than it is sitting down and really thinking about it. I write what I see.
So what can you tell me about anything? What do you want to promote?
Well, some people have thought that I'm promoting vigilantism and taking justice into your own hands, and that's far from it. It may seem that way when you read the first book, because that's exactly what she does. Again, in the sequel, it is brought out what happens after you have sought your revenge, and then what comes after that.
Okay, what I actually meant was, what do you want to tell us about you and your writing? What's next? What's the third book?
Well, this is a series. Accountable to None is the first one, Zero Balance is the second, and the third and final one is called Adjusting Journal Entry. Of course, they all have an accounting theme because they are centered around an accounting firm. And I really want to be able to finish that before the end of the year and have the complete trilogy out and available for the readers, so I can move on to my next project, which is already right here.
Well, that is awesome. All right. I can't think of anything. Anything you want to add?
I just would like to thank a few people. Of course, first and foremost, my family. They have been so supportive, not only with watching me take time away from them, but also being here like tonight, and for all the support they've given me. My teacher at Pulaski Tech, Malvern, absolutely fantastic teacher. Anybody out there is thinking about taking creative writing, they need to take the Burning Creative Writing class. I would also like to thank my fans that have taken the time and taken the chance to read an unknown author and send me to places I never thought that I would be able to do so quickly. And also to my friends that I've met, fellow writers on Facebook and Twitter, that have been so supportive and so helpful, because I had no idea what I was doing when I first started, and I kind of still really don't, but they're helping out in areas that I have zero expertise in. And to my new publisher, World Castle Publications, they were awesome.